Hey guys, happy Monday. You guys know every week I come in and I check in with my Sunday empowerment. Now, yesterday had a couple of technical difficulties with my camera, so this has turned into a Monday empowerment, but that's okay. As long as you guys get the word, that's all that matters. So, yesterday at church, as I do in every video, I extend the invite for you guys to come to church with me. I attend church at Agape Restoration Ministry Center. My pastors are Daryl and Regina Love. We meet every Sunday at 10 a.m. So every Sunday, I'll be at that door waiting for you guys to come in. So also remember, every fourth Sunday of the month, we have Family and Friends Day. So bring your mom, bring your dad, bring your brothers, cousins, aunties, uncles, whatever. We're going to have a great time. So with that being said, yesterday's message was pretty much piggybacking on last week's Sunday Empowerment, which was overcoming opposition. Now, Pastor Regina talked about another, last week we talked about the way that we overcome the opposition and everything, all the negative in the world, is by believing that Jesus is the Son of God and maintaining our faith. Our faith is what brings our victory in overcoming the world. So that was last week. This week, Pastor Regina pretty much piggybacked on that, but she talked about more in depth about ways that we can become conquerors of our obstacles. And that being is our attitude. You know, a lot of the times we really don't realize how much of an impact our attitude has on our success. So in talking about that, she covered, the things that we go through in life. A lot of us tend to think that whenever something bad happens to us, oh, it's always the devil attacking us. Whenever something good happens in our lives, oh, that's always God. That's always God. And it's important that we kind of consider the fact, we have to understand that in order for bad things to happen to us or for the devil to mess with us, God has to allow that. So we have to understand that whenever we're going through our tests and our trials in our lives and we're just having those really hard seasons, it's not always the devil. A lot of the times God sends us these storms because he's evaluating if we are utilizing everything that he's placed inside of us to be able to overcome the temptation just as Jesus did, to be able to maintain our faith, a positive outlook, a positive attitude. In these situations, God is not only evaluating us, but he is revealing ourselves to us. He is allowing us to see all of our strengths, all of our weaknesses, being able to understand to see if we truly understand how powerful it is to maintain our faith and have a positive attitude. So with that being said, I think that, a lot of us, one of the things that Pastor Regina touched on was how much in the world we have a lot of temptation. You get people offering you power, fame, money, prestige, all of these things, and we think that a lot of people tend to worship these things above God. And what we have to understand is she also gave really good examples of people. We see people all the time that are on the top of the game, successful in their lives, in everything that they do, they have success. And then there's other people that are also successful, but they literally came from the bottom of the bottom. They hit rock bottom in their lives, and then they ended up being able to migrate to the top and be some of the most successful people in the world. A good example of that is actually Tyler Perry, Steve Harvey. We all know their story. I watch a lot of Steve Harvey motivational videos, and the thing that Tyler Perry and Steve Harvey have in common is that they both came from living in their cars, being homeless, living in their cars for years at a time, going from that to being able to completely surpass all of the expectations that people had for them or about them, because they held on to their faith, and it was their attitude, their perspective on their situations is how they were able to turn their lives around, and God was really able to move and work in their lives. So Pastor Regina mentioned something. She mentioned an article that she read by motivational speaker, Dr. Alan Zimmerman. Now, you guys know I'm looking at my notes because I have so much valuable information that I want to give you. I don't want to just talk off the top of my head. I want to give you this information. So when you talk about your attitude, one of the things that Dr. Alan Zimmerman mentions, he actually quoted another motivational speaker by the name of Zig Ziglar. And Zig Ziglar says, it is your attitude more than your aptitude that determines your altitude. And we all have heard that said plenty of times. We hear all the time, oh, it's your attitude that determines your altitude. We've heard that. But when you really think about it, you have to really realize the power in that statement. It is absolutely true that he also says, I don't think I wrote this down. He said, in your attitude has more impact on your success than your IQ and your GPA. And it's so funny because a lot of people think that, oh, they're super smart, they're going to be successful, and that's not always the case. She also mentioned there are plenty of people who are on Skid Row today that are super smart. And I say this without, no disrespect or not without disregarding their circumstances at that time, but when you really look at people's situations when they're stuck at the bottom, you have to really think about what is their attitude, what is their perspective in regards to being in that place that they're in. And a lot of the times it's our attitude that keeps us stuck to where it's what we're saying, what we're thinking about, how we're feeling. It is these really important factors that we think don't really make a difference, but they make the biggest difference in the world. Another thing that we have to understand is we have to start speaking positivity over our lives. No matter how bad our situations look, no matter how unlucky we think we are, no matter how much we think the devil is attacking us, we have to understand that it is our choice, it is our responsibility to be able to evolve and to grow to a level of maturity within ourselves that we are able to encourage and uplift ourselves and be able to check our own attitudes when we're just basically tripping. You know what I mean? So this is something that Pastor Regina read, and I believe this is it's either Zig Ziglar or Dr. Alan Zimmerman. I'm not sure which is from, but she read this to us, and I'm going to read it to you guys because I know that you all can identify with this. So this is called the attitude of a winner. Okay. Now, the attitude of a winner is always a part of the answer. The attitude of a loser is always a part of the problem. The winner always has a plan, but the loser always has an excuse. The winner says, let me help you, when the loser says, that's not my job. The winner sees an answer to every problem, when the loser sees a problem in every answer. The winner says, it may be difficult, but it's still possible. The loser says, it may be possible, but it's just way too difficult. So something like this is funny, but you really have to understand this is true. That we all know somebody who meets this description. We've all been somebody who meets this description. And I think the purpose of the message was for us to be able to listen to something like this and just really be able to evaluate ourselves and say, ooh, I be thinking that, I be doing that sometimes, or I be saying that sometimes. It's so easy to say things and just let them flow out of your mouth. But we have to understand that it's in the Bible. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. It is what we say. What are we speaking over our lives? What are we speaking over our circumstances? Are we just completely being negative throughout everything? Is our perspective negative about everything? What are we allowing ourselves to see? What are we allowing to grab our attention? What are we dwelling on in our minds? What kind of thought process are we taking when bad things happen to us? What is our response to those things? And God is looking at all of that. So I just want us to be able to have the ability to not only be able to uplift each other and check each other, but we have to check ourselves. How are we going to be of good to anybody else if we are going around operating with a very, very just plain out negative attitude? So with that being said, we also have to understand, like I said, that this is a choice. We get to choose how we want to feel when we wake up in the morning. Yes, we all don't always wake up with love and joy and excitement in our hearts, but we can make the decision to operate in that. If something bad happens, we have the ability to choose how we're going to react to it. We have the ability to operate in faith even when things don't go our way. What are we going to do? How are we going to operate? And that's really the point of the message. Just your attitude. Be able to check yourself And I hope that going throughout the week, you guys know I don't just sit here just to preach to you. I sit here, this is called Sunday Empowerment for a reason. I make these videos to inspire you, to empower you to go throughout your week, being able to utilize the tips and the tools and the resources that my pastors are giving me. I want to share them with you so that you guys can be able to operate as efficiently as you can through life, and making sure that you're not blocking your blessings with a bad attitude or by speaking negativity over your situation. So I hope that that inspired you. I do want to leave you with one thing. Pastor Regina closed with a scripture, Philippians 4, verses 8 through 9. And in the scripture, it pretty much says, I want you guys to read this, but just to sum it up, it's basically saying, whatever is pure, whatever is just, whatever is honorable, whatever is lovely, whatever is of good report and virtue, whatever is worthy to be praised, those are the things that we should focus our thoughts on. Once we focus our thoughts on things like that, God's peace will protect our hearts and guard our minds. So that is the gist of yesterday's message. Like I said, I hope to see you guys at church next Sunday. If not, you guys know I'll always be here to check in with my summary, but you guys should come get the full experience of the word so you can really see. Our church is super cool and laid back, so you're gonna have a great time. But anyway, make sure you guys take that message and run with it. Check your attitude, be able to protect your energy, protect your space, help others to really check their attitudes so we can all just win in this thing called life, okay? So you guys be blessed, be a blessing to others. I love you. I look forward to seeing y'all next week. Take care. Bye-bye.